This is Bruteo, a young male Tyrannosaurus. Patrolling his territory, he comes across a duo of Pycnonemosaurus, unwelcome intruders. Bruteo continues his display, aggressively biting and calling out to the pair. Quickly, he becomes agitated and starts aggressively displaying to the pair. The Pycnonemosaurus do not seem to want to leave and begin to size up to Bruteo. After much run about, the pair of Pycnonemosaurus decide to rather leave the Tyrannosaurus's territory. Another victory for this young bull. It's been several days since we last had contact with Bruteo. This evening we find him patrolling his territory once more. He keeps a lookout for any signs of intruders or even potentially a mate. With it being a mild summer's eve, it's sure to be a rather uneventful evening. Whilst we watch this young bull, here are some facts that you may find interesting. Bruteo, son of Wilbert and grandson of the infamous Brutus, has developed a rather striking appearance. With his piebald markings and deep yellow eyes, he is easily identified from other Tyrannosaurus specimens. Bruteo, now aged 15, is in the prime of his life. Strong and highly capable, we expect this Tyrannosaurus will be a formidable hunter, much like his grandfather before him. With large herds of Eotriceratops and Stegosaurus within his territory, we are sure he will be well fed and maintain good health. It's early dusk, and we have once more spotted Bruteo. At the river, he cools off from the heat of the summer's day with a cold drink. We can also observe what seems to be an old scar on his rump, perhaps a wound now healed from a hunt, or maybe even an engagement with another predator. He is overall in good physical condition, looking well fed and without any sort of injury. He most likely will settle down for the evening and rest up, regaining his energy so that he may continue his patrols, or even perhaps hunt in the morning. A few days have passed and we have managed to catch up to Bruteo. He is stalking something, hunched over quietly approaching his target. In the distance, we can hear the unmistakable sounds of Eotriceratops bulls in combat, likely fighting over the right to mate. A perfect opportunity for Bruteo to secure a meal. A wounded Eotriceratops is easier to kill than a healthy one or one that is alert to the dangers of his presence. Bruteo approaches, attempting to use the terrain to his advantage. The closer he can get, the easier it will be for him to ambush the bulls. A successful hunt for Bruteo, he has sustained minimal damage with a few gashes and secured a good meal that will keep him well fed for some time to come. It has been a good few weeks since we last encountered Bruteo. He has recovered from his Eotriceratops hunt. All his wounds have healed nicely. He is once again out and about patrolling his territory, keeping a sharp eye out for any intruders. As the dry season approaches, we will continue to observe this bull. The herds that once called his territory home will be migrating, and thus food will become scarce. Hard times are ahead, however. We are sure this young bull will see them through. Bruteo has found himself a rather unusual target. After picking up on the scent of a juvenile Alioramus, he attempts to track it down. With the dry season now in full swing, any and all hunting opportunities will need to be taken advantage of. The Alioramus has managed to evade Bruteo's attacks, a lucky break for such a young tyrannosaurid who lives for another day. Months have passed since we last caught up with Bruteo. The dry season is now well behind him. We find him deep within a forest that borders his territory. We suspect he was attracted to this area by the scent of a female Tyrannosaurus who was in estrus. Examining his condition, we can see he has indeed lost some weight. Overall, he is not looking too healthy, thus we can only suspect that the dry season was rather difficult for him. Perhaps now, as the wet season approaches, he will be able to find a way to sustain himself once more and recover from his past ordeals. Bruteo is back inside of his territory. On patrol, he spots another carnivore that is quickly scared off by his thunderous roar. Agitated and in a rather foul mood, it is evident that he has yet to secure a mate for this season. We are unsure why this is. Perhaps the female Tyrannosaurus are no longer venturing so far west due to the lack of prey and resources. It may be time for our young bull to move on from his territory and seek out another that is more sustainable. Some prey is just not quite as easy as others to hunt. Bruteo foolishly attempts to stalk a small flock of Struthiomimus. However, just as quickly as he has begun, the herd spots him and runs off. He continues his stalking, perhaps spotting another target in the distance. Instead, all he encounters is another rival predator attempting to also follow the Struthiomimus herd. Quickly, he begins an intimidation display and shows this intruder out of his territory. The male Allosaurus is not interested in fighting Bruteo, maintaining his distance from the bull. A wise decision on the Allosaurus's behalf, as tangling with a fully grown Tyrannosaurus Rex could indeed end in injury or worse death. A fortnight since we witnessed Bruteo escorting the Allosaurus out of his territory, we encountered the bull in the forest that borders its northern edge. Desperation had driven the bull to this area in order to hunt. He has spotted a pack of Deinonychus. The terrain here is excessively uneven and full of rocky outcrops, not at all the ideal hunting grounds for such a large predator. However desperate, he continues his attack, attempting to secure a meal. Unsuccessful once more, things are not at all looking well for our young bull. Find Bruteo resting deep within the heart of his territory when suddenly a young Anodontosaurus approaches him. Anodontosaurus are a formidable prey, very hard to take down, and require a lot of energy to do so, something our bull does not currently have. He attempts to scare off the creature as to continue resting in his chosen spot. As a new day dawns, Bruteo is unaware that this day will be full of trouble as a pack of stubborn Alioramus has invaded our young bull's territory. He would spend all day attempting to drive out these competitors with varying degree of success. It would seem that a pair of Pycnonemosaurus have taken the opportunity to also count out Bruteo's territory while he was distracted by the Alioramus intruders. They will also be scared off before he returns to attempt to release his territory from the Alioramus infestation. It's been a few weeks since we last saw Bruteo. In the distance, we hear another Tyrannosaurus calling out. Bruteo decides to go and see what all the commotion is about. Finally, a female Tyrannosaurus has entered his territory and is displaying that she is ready to court. Now, all Bruteo needs to do is successfully court this female, and he will finally be able to pass on his lineage to the next generation. He approaches slowly towards the sow. He does not want to anger her, as this may result in a fight he cannot afford. However, being in poor physical condition, the sow begins to back up. She is unsure of the fitness of this male. Swiftly, she rejects Bruteo. Confused, Bruteo attempts to soothe the sow, however, she is not having it, showing aggression towards him. He realizes this and attempts to make a quick getaway before they come to blows. Unsuccessful, however, at least he gets to live another day. Perhaps in future the sow may return to his territory and he can try again to impress her. We find Bruteo struggling to sustain himself. He has resorted to eating carcasses and bones that he finds whilst roaming his territory, not a meal that will feed and nourish this bull. As his condition deteriorates, we are growing more concerned as he weakens and may be unable to recover from this ordeal. With the full moon illuminating the heart of Bruteo's territory, our fears are realized when a rival enters the scene. An older, more mature sow. Looking at her distinctive facial scars, we quickly identify this female as none other than Opal, Bruteo's mother. Unknowing to him, she is battle-hardened and cunning a foe that may just best our young bull. The two approach one another, displaying their strength and size. Opal is much larger and well kept than Bruteo. However, with neither challenger backing down, the two come to blows. Bruteo, realizing he is much weaker, attempts to flee, sustaining a rather bad wound to his left side. It's been days after Bruteo fought with his mother. Now ousted from his territory, an infection has begun to set in. Our young bull attempts to scratch the festering wound to his side using rocks and other objects he can reach. The wound is badly infected, and due to his already poor body condition is setting in rather fast. We do not have much hope for this male to recover. Aching from the pain, Bruteo lashes out in anger. He is confused. And in a lot of pain, he seeks a spot where he can lay down and rest in the warm summer sun. Unknowing to him, he will not awaken from this final slumber as his body gives way to the infection and he succumbs to his wounds. Thank you for joining us on Bruteo's journey. If you enjoyed this video, please do leave a comment, like, and subscribe.